Hey there friends, thanks for checking in. Today we're going to check out the similarities and differences with the 10mm round versus the 40 Smith & Wesson. The caliber wars, it's been going on for years, and this one is often debated. Both of these are 180 grain target loads, but they share many common attributes as well as differences, so we're going to go through that today. Now it's important to note that the 10mm has been around for a long time. The 40 was developed from the 10mm. They decided to shorten the case, remove some of the dead air within the case, and create the same size bullet. And that's one of the things that is similar. The headspace off the case mouth is the same, 0.424 inches. So if you were to shoot paper side by side, you'd see the exact same size bullet hole, because that is the same. The 10mm is larger, as you can see. The size of the case is larger. You're looking at 0.992 inches with the case size. Over here you're looking at 0.85 inches. So they shortened the case, but the 10mm still wins when it comes to velocity. You're looking at 1,250 feet per second with a standard 180 grain bullet, as where with the 40 you're looking at 1,000 feet per second. Also, the foot-pounds of energy is increased with the 10mm. 624 foot-pounds of energy, 400 foot-pounds of energy with the 40 Smith & Wesson. Both have earned themselves fine reputations in the shooting world. We're seeing the 10mm rise in popularity as the 40 is kind of decreasing in popularity. The last 5 to 10 years we've seen fewer and fewer shooters out there choosing 40, and I think one of the reasons is because if you look at the advancement of 9mm, you'll see something like this, 147 grain 9mm. This is Winchester. Here, 147 grain. You know, they've increased the bullet weight, and people say, you know what, I'll take the capacity, but there are still a lot of 40 fans out there, and they wouldn't choose anything else. One of the things that makes them unique in a way is that the self-defense loads. Now here's Federal Fusion.
Now we have Federal Fusion.
You can see there it's a bonded soft point, 200 grains.
Soft points.
So that's no joke. That's a self-defense load. And over here we have Critical Duty, made by Hornady, 175 grain flex lock.
Here we have Hornady Critical
All right,
Duty,
that's a
175
little red thing in there that helps it expand. By contrast, the 40 actually goes a little bit lighter. Here's Fiocchi. This is a 125 grain bullet in self-defense. And over here we've got Remington Ultimate Defense, and you're looking at 180 grain defensive load. So a little more variety with the 40 Smith & Wesson. Now I took these to the range. I shot them side by side. The firearms I used was right here, the Springfield XD40. Excellent handgun. Love the way that tames the recoil. People say that the 40 Smith & Wesson round is snappy, and I just don't feel it with this handgun. Over here we've got the Springfield XDM Elite 3.8 Compact OSP. Has a Hex Dragonfly on there. OSP optical sight pistol. Incredible handgun. And I also spot in the 1911 Ronin. Wow, if you haven't shot a Ronin yet, you're really missing out. And this one's chambered in 10mm, and there is very little recoil. Let's roll through some of that footage. You can check out the recoil differences, because that is the thing. The reason why this was developed is because the FBI said we wanted 10mm, but then people complained that the recoil was too substantial. They want something a little less, so they came up with the 40 in 1990, and it does punch you back a little bit. It's traveling faster, more foot-pounds of energy, but let's go ahead and check that out. Another point worth mentioning, and this is where the 40 shines, and that is ammo availability. The 40 can typically be picked up at the local gun store, the big box store. It's usually on the shelves and available. It's less expensive than the 10mm round as well, which is more scarce. You may find it, but many people find themselves ordering 10mm online because it's not often stocked. Maybe that'll change, especially with some of the 10mm handguns that Springfield's coming out with. That may change. But as it sits now, the 40 is more easy to find. Also, in some cases, the 10mm is close to twice the cost of the 40. So that recoil, if you love it, if you love hunting, people will hunt with this. They'll take deer, they'll take hogs, even some black bear if you're in backwoods territory or whatever. Not so much with the 40, but it's a great defense round. It's a great target round. It's a great practice round. But the 10mm I think is a little bit better. I love them both actually, but I love the 10mm, and I think the reason why is that I've just fallen in love with the Ronin. Shooting this in 10mm is just so nice. Both of these, I've had these guns for a while now, and they have both performed flawlessly since day one. So in terms of the function of the handguns or the ammo, both are first class. They've earned a very fine reputation in the shooting world. If I had to choose one, I'd probably go with the 10mm. I just think with all those applications you could use it for, it's an advantage. And I like a little pushback, but if you're recoil sensitive, perhaps the 40 would be for you. Harder to find, easier to find, more expensive, less expensive. Both are great rounds. If you like videos like this, please subscribe and share. I always appreciate thumbs up button. Thanks for watching, and you guys be safe.